You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Coming up, we've got Patricia Ward Kelly, the wife of the late great Gene Kelly, in studio with us today. Tell us about the life and work of the iconic actor, dancer, and so many other titles that he had.
Also, new reports show some good news in the fight against cancer as the number of cancer deaths fall and more people than ever are surviving.
And as we look at the Skywatch storm tracker, this is our view at 7th and Rangeline. Cloudy, cool in Joplin as the cold front has rolled through, but no rain yet. We're going to talk about how much rain is on the way here in just a little bit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. We're going to begin with breaking news this morning out of Joplin. Just after 5:30 this morning, dispatch received multiple reports of an apartment building on fire at 1921 East 9th Street. At this time, it is still unknown if everyone was able to get out safely. Fire Chief Gerald Azell tells us we do have an update. Everyone is out of the building and is accounted for. Stay with KOAM for more information and head over to our website as this story develops. Again, breaking news this morning. Fire breaks out at an apartment building at 1921, that's 9th and Connecticut in Joplin. Collision with a dog in the roadway causes a serious crash in McDonald County. The crash occurred on Wednesday around 2 in the afternoon, about 6 miles south of Rocky Comfort. A motorcycle driven by Dustin Stevens struck a dog in the roadway, which caused the bike to leave the road and overturn. Stevens was transported to Freeman West in Joplin by ambulance with moderate injuries. The passenger, Jamie Stevens, was airlifted to Freeman West with serious injuries. And a rear-end crash takes the life of a Neosho man. The crash happened just after 2:30 Tuesday afternoon. Authorities say a Buick Encore traveling eastbound on Highway 86 struck the rear of a Hyundai Elantra, which was stopped in the left-hand turn lane near Highway 86 and Baxter Street. Neosho Police Department says the driver of the Buick, 74-year-old Charles Hickson, died at the scene. Police say the other driver was treated and released on scene by the Newton County Ambulance. To see the full press release from the Neosho Police, just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A Missouri woman had a life-threatening infection from her miscarriage, and she went to Freeman Health System, who confirmed that this infection was life-threatening. However, they turned her away due to Missouri's heartbeat law. And despite the infection and loss of amniotic fluid, the unborn child still had a heartbeat.
It was because of the vote. Their legal team will not let them proceed because it's too much of a heated and risky political environment right now.
We reached out to Freeman Healthcare System and received no response. Coming up later in the show, our own Amber Jenkins takes a closer look at their story. Score One for Health is hosting elementary students from Columbia and West Central schools in Joplin. This program is held at Joplin's Kansas City University and allows second-year medical students to do head-to-toe physical assessments, oral screenings, and vision tests. Elementary students also participate in STEM education activity.
A lot of times we teach students how to do an ear exam in a lab on each other or from a video, but today actually they get to experience doing that on a child. It's one thing to do it on a participating adult, but sometimes it's a lot more challenging or fun on a child.
KCU medical students will help examine all 11 Joplin elementary schools this semester. Well, big changes are headed into the lives of some Kansas students. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced a 5-year, $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. The grant aims to address the behavioral health needs of nearly 40,000 students. An official with the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says the grant will impact children who are without resources.
Housing is a big issue for us. A lot of them have HUD vouchers already. They just are unable to find proper rentals. And so that's something I work with. I am constantly on the hunt for HUD-approved housing. And then food is another one. I make sure that they are enrolled in SNAP if they aren't already, and then find the food pantry options that they have available to them.
Gangan says Community Health Center will be able to add a school-based community health worker in Pittsburgh and Fort Scott school districts. Well, this morning we have been talking about Gene Kelly, the beloved actor and dancer who passed away 26 years ago. But he left behind an undeniable cinematic legacy. And coming up later on KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Patricia Ward Kelly, the wife of the late, great Gene Kelly, will join us live in studio to talk about not just his work, but his life as a dancer, a director, an actor, and husband.
Now, you may not think you're familiar with Gene Kelly, but chances are you at least know the scene of Kelly gleefully stomping through rain puddles in the MGM classic Singin' in the Rain. Eugene Curran Kelly was an American actor, dancer, singer, filmmaker, choreographer, number of amazing titles for an amazing man who starred in over 30 films, including such memorable titles as Singin' in the Rain and American in Paris, On the Town, Anchors Away, and Brigadoon.
Performances. We found ourselves talking about our own personal favorite Gene Kelly movies and wondered, what's your favorite Gene Kelly movie?
So we gave you a few. We can't put all 30 on there, but we gave you a few to choose from. And then we also gave the option of other if there was something else. 63% of you say Singin' in the Rain is your favorite. An American in Paris gets 13% of the vote, and 6% of the vote being spread to Brigadoon, Inherit the Wind, Anchors Away, and something else. So make sure you vote through our website, do so in our app, take part in discussion on our Facebook page, and of course we have that incredible interview coming up. We also have, we'll talk about this too in a second, Chef Anthony in here making ratatouille, and as I've learned, that's not the name of the rat in the movie Ratatouille, so he's not actually cooking rats in the studio, he's making an amazing dish. We'll have more on that dish. We also have an amazing forecast for about the next 24 hours. We have rain, as you can see, starting to overspread the area now, really starting to build in as it moves off to the east-southeast, coming out of Kansas. We get more developing, which is good. We need the rain. We're not talking a ton of rain, but we're talking rain, and that is something that we absolutely need. 7th and range line, socked in with clouds, but you can see the roads very clear, very dry still right now in Joplin. The cold fronts push through because look at that temperature, 60 degrees, but it hasn't rained yet. North-northeast breeze at 14. Like the last couple of days, it's going to be gusting pretty high as we go through the afternoon as well. Where it has been raining, a little cooler. 55 Iola, 57 Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 61 Columbus, 62 Neosho, 63 Anderson, 65 in Bentonville. For a number of us, we are upwards of 10 to 20 degrees cooler now than what we were 24 hours ago, which is just an amazing difference because we went from record-breaking heat yesterday to absolutely fall-like weather today in a matter of just hours as the cold front swept through the area. It also swept through some changes for allergies as well. We're at a 7.1 out of 12 on the pollen count today, a 7 out of 12 on the pollen count for tomorrow, so still up there, but better than what it has been. Now, we go through the rest of today. We get on a roller coaster, so I hope you're strapped in and I hope you're ready to go because it gets a little wild. We're eventually going to reach a high of 66 degrees. And then the temperatures will fall through the day. 60 by 8 with showers and scattered thunderstorms. Then we get into tonight. We'll have a low of 55 early in the evening, and then it'll start to warm back up with showers again tomorrow morning. And the reason it starts to warm back up is look at the 7-day forecast. 88 tomorrow. We hold on to shower thunderstorm chances, low ones, but they're there Friday and Saturday. Record-breaking day possible Saturday, 96. By Sunday, we finally settle into at least some stable temperatures and partly cloudy skies after we get some much-needed rain. Not a ton of it, but some of it, and that's better than nothing. Guess what? We talked about it. We've got Chef Anthony. He's here in the studio. He's brought some students with him. He's celebrating, and he's making ratatouille. And like I said, it's not a rat. He's going to tell you what it is. He's in the Chef Anthony test kitchen. And later, the Federal Reserve announces its third consecutive rate hike of 0.75 percentage point. We got the details behind the reason. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
I have been so excited about today's dish. We've got Chef Anthony and we have Frankie and Lacey joining us from Pittsburgh High School here, and we are making ratatouille this morning.
Oh yes, I love this dish. One of the benefits of this is there's two ways that you can do it. Those people who are fans of the movie, you're going to recognize this. But those who are not fans of the movie, you can make this in a traditional stew method, and you can add bits of meat inside of it, so you don't have to go completely vegetables.
Can I do something real quick just to see?
Sure.
Is there something hiding in your hat?
Maybe.
Like just something like pulling on your hair?
Maybe.
No? No?
I'll have to change my name to Linguini then.
No, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to check.
So what we'll do is we'll take some of the sauce that we made earlier, and we're going to put a little bit in the bottom, and we're going to cover the bottom of our pan. And if you use a 9-inch by 9-inch pan like this, it works the best. This will actually feed about 8 people.
Really?
In a pan like this. So while we talk about this, they're going to start the assembly. And as you can see, we have all of our vegetables out.
Which they so kindly cut up.
Yes, they did. And they did a wonderful job at it.
Beautiful.
And they're going to start laying everything together in their deciding order. And then they'll just lay it right into the pan.
So we're stacking them in there.
Yes, we're going to stack them in the pan and lay them at a 45-degree angle and just keep going until we fill the pan all the way up.
What's the purpose of the 45? So you can fit more in there?
Well, it makes it real easy and it looks beautiful when it hits the plate. If you stack everything up straight, it's not going to cook evenly all the way through.
True. Otherwise, the bottom one cooks more than the,
Yeah, so laying them at that 45-degree angle gets a chance for everything to go through it. And then when we're all done, we'll put a couple more ladles of sauce over the top of it in 350-degree oven for about an hour. Make sure you cover it. If you use aluminum foil, make sure you put a piece of parchment paper down in between the foil and the goodies.
Okay.
And then about an hour, take it off and bring it out of the oven and serve it immediately right to the table.
Okay, let's go over again real quickly what you put in the sauce.
So in our sauce, we have 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. We have a red bell pepper. We have a orange bell pepper, garlic, olive oil, and then the basil that I brought from school today. You can I also have a little bit of thyme, a little bit of rosemary in there to help give it just a little bit more aromatics. And I let it
really
simmer.
didn't take that much time to cook.
No, it doesn't.
Sorry.
Boy, you just got the jokes all day today. That's great. I'm loving it. I can't carry all the humor.
I try. You
So
don't,
the
you don't
kids,
know who you're working with here.
The culinary club made this last week.
Okay.
And they made this wonderful TikTok. And the one thing that all my family who watched it caught was they caught you singing in the middle of it. And I'm like, oh, God. So the one thing that everybody took away from it was just me singing. But when I'm in the kitchen,
what were you singing?
Home on the Range.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you why. It was just something that popped into my head.
On that note, and that's not a pun, actually it is, but if you wanted to put meat into your ratatouille, how would you go about doing that?
So don't make your sauce so thick. Leave it soup-like.
Okay.
Okay, and add your vegetables in larger chunks, little cubes, probably about a quarter inch, and simmer them all together with a little bit of meat. Like lamb goes really well in this.
I bet. Or deer and antelope.
Deer and antelope go really
Whatever
well.
you can find on the range.
And rabbit goes really well in this because the whole thing was
Just
a
not
peasant.
rat. That's not why it's called ratatouille. Nope.
But it was originally designed as a peasant stew, so the idea was whatever you can put in it, what's coming out of the garden can go into it. What little odds and ends scraps of meat that you have can go into it.
They're doing an excellent job
aren't they
with
going?
this.
And it's just, they run right through it.
All right, so this is, as soon as they finish, this is gonna, do we need to cover it or?
We would put a piece of parchment paper over the top of it, piece of foil over the top of it, or if your dish has a lid, put the lid on it.
Okay.
And then straight into the oven for about an hour at 350 degrees.
All right.
So.
Simple enough.
Simple enough, and when we come back, we're gonna plate this beautiful dish for you.
All right, sounds good. And I'm looking forward to that when we come back after these messages. All right, welcome back. We've been making ratatouille all morning in the Chef Anthony Test Kitchen, and we also have a few guests here this morning. This is a recipe that you guys have made in your culinary club. What are some other things that you guys have made that you've enjoyed making? Frankie, let's start with you.
Let's see. Yesterday we made a pie, raspberry, strawberry, and peach.
Had you ever made a pie before?
No.
No. So that was a new experience for you.
Yes.
All right. What was fun about it? Doing it. Putting you on the spot.
Yes, very much. Let's see.
Did you learn any new techniques as you were making it?
Yes.
That's good.
Very much.
That's good. What about you, Lacey? What was your favorite thing to make?
My favorite thing to make was honestly the ratatouille. It It was honestly really good when I tried it, and I'm not a vegetable person very much.
So it was a new way to get you to eat your vegetables, I guess you'd say, and they're vegetables that, you know, you don't commonly see on a kid's plate for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're talking squash and zucchini and what else do we have in here?
Eggplant.
Eggplant. This looks delicious. Oh my goodness. And of course, you're learning all about presentation in the culinary club as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Height and how beautiful it looks.
Mm-hmm. Mixture of colors and, like you said, height is always a big thing too. All right, you've got some future prospects here with you this morning.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
We'll put a little fresh basil right on the top, just so that it's appealing to the eye.
And this is basil that the school is growing itself.
Yes, this is basil that the school is growing itself for us to use. And it just gives this nice little bit of character to it right at the end.
How pretty.
And there you go. Isn't that just an absolute gorgeous plate?
All right. Yeah, we can get a close-up of that if we can. Yeah. How pretty. I'm letting it cool just a little bit because it came straight out of the oven. Chris, don't worry. I'm going to save some for you.
I appreciate that.
I
I'm looking
brought
forward
Chris
to
an
trying.
extra fork so he could come on
You
over
even got
here
your own
and try
fork.
one.
Come join me.
Okay, all right. He said
Chris has never had Ratatouille before. One cool thing about, you know, everyone jokes about the movie Ratatouille and stuff, but I'd never tried Ratatouille before the movie. It in my opinion, it was kind of like an old dying recipe that they used to make, but like the Ratatouille brought back its popularity.
It did, and like I said, Ratatouille used to be a peasant stew, but they changed it for this and elevated it up a little bit. But one of the key things that people forget is if you remember the scene when they served it to Anton Ego, it was right after he said, "If I don't love the food, I won't swallow it." But you sat there and you watched him just go to town and finish his entire plate and lick the plate clean. Food invokes memories. And for him, it was the memory of going home and having his mom making it for him. That's why the flashback happened. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of a dish, if the seasoning and the time is taken to present the same elegant dish, just in a new manner, can invoke those new experiences and new memories for you. What do you think?
I have a new experience that I just burned my tongue.
I told you to blow on it.
I did, well, kind of, but no, that's really good.
Isn't it?
I mean, the thing is, the dish looks too good to eat as it is, but I mean, it tastes delicious.
This is a great way to get the kids to eat their vegetables.
I would agree because I like it a lot. I even spilled some here.
He's eating off the table. Yeah.
Hey, I got kids. I'm used to it. We do it all the time.
We clean the table before you guys come. Just saying.
Mostly.
I think we did anyway.
I'm glad you guys enjoy this. This is one of the things that I really, really get a big kick out of doing with the students. When they get to experience something like this, and then last night we made pies from scratch.
That's awesome.
Getting that experience and just experiencing something new and seeing an accomplishment like that is priceless.
Any idea what you might be making next week? Still in the works?
Go ask Mary.
Oh. I will.
I think I know exactly what he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about? There's a song that involves Mary, and
Did you take her lambs?
She had a little lamb.
She had a little lamb. Yes. And
okay, see, what was it you introduced me to last week? Some meat that I'd never had before.
We had lamb chops.
No,
yes.
it wasn't lamb chops. It was something else.
No, it was lamb chops.
Was it?
Herb-crusted lamb chops, yes.
Huh. Okay, well, I guess I've had lamb.
We're going to take lamb and make a classic meatloaf.
Ooh, that'll be delicious. Lamb and meatloaf. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we are out of time this morning, and these two need to get back to school.
Yep.
So I guess you do too.
Now, I heard that all the way over here. I heard that.
Well, keep up the great work. You guys are doing awesome, and thank you so much. And
Of course.
See you again next week.
Same time, same place.
We'll be right back.
It's time for us to honor today's four-state hero, William Kirby. William Kirby served in the Air Force from 1959 to 1963, served in Turkey, Japan, and was even stationed at Forbes Air Force Base in Topeka, Kansas. And we thank you, today's four-state hero, William Kirby. A new report shows progress against cancer, with more people in the U.S. surviving cancer than ever before. The American Association for Cancer Research found in the past 3 years, the number of cancer survivors living in the U.S. increased by more than 1 million. As of January, there were 18 million cancer survivors in the U.S. The association said that number is expected to increase to 26 million by 2040. The report notes there were only 3 million cancer survivors back in 1971. For all cancers combined, the 5-year overall survival rate has increased from 49% in the mid-1970s to nearly 70% from 2011 to 2017. And the overall cancer death rate, adjusted for age, continues to drop. The report credits the progress against cancer to fewer people smoking and improvements in catching and treating cancer early. All right, look at the Skywatch storm tracker. We've got rain, and we need that rain, and thankfully we are getting it across the areas. It slowly continues to drift southeast into the area coming out of Kansas. We're not talking a ton of rain, but we are talking rain nonetheless, which we need. Now, 7th and range line, as you can see, the clouds are getting a little darker. The rain's getting a little closer in Joplin as it comes in from the northwest, but it's not raining yet. Roads are still dry, so we're still cloudy, obviously. 60 degrees because the cold front's been through. Up where it's been raining, we're staying a little chillier. We're talking 54 Iola, 56 Fort Scott, 57 Pittsburgh, 62 Miami, Anderson, 63 Grove, and a warmer place is Bentonville at 65. Despite that, we're still 10 to 20 degrees cooler now than we were 24 hours ago. That'd be a very odd measurement of time, wouldn't it? Allergy sufferers, good news too with the cold front. The allergy count, the pollen count, still up there, 7.1 out of 12, but it's lower than what we've seen in a 7.0 out of 12 for tomorrow. Going through the rest of the day, a little bit of a roller coaster on temperatures. We will eventually make it to 66 for a high early, and the temperatures will drop back into the lower 60s as we see scattered showers and maybe a rumble of thunder. Clear out briefly tonight, 55 for the overnight low early, and then we warm up to 58 by tomorrow morning, because as we look at the 7-day, we hold on to some scattered storm chances tomorrow and Saturday, 88 Friday, record high possible Saturday, 96, and the temperatures finally adjust themselves and manage to level out a bit in the week ahead. We're back after this.
State's most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. We have breaking news this morning as a fire breaks out in an apartment building in Joplin. It happened just after 5:30 this morning. Joplin Dispatch received multiple reports of an apartment building on fire at 1921 East 9th Street. That's at 9th and Connecticut. And we do have new information from Chief Gerald Azell of the Joplin Fire Department. He tells us that everyone is accounted for and out of the building. Thank goodness. The fire had already breached the roof when firefighters arrived. And stay with KOAM for more information, or head over to our website as this story develops. Again, breaking news this morning as a fire breaks out in an apartment building at 1921 East 9th Street in Joplin. Arvest donates $10,000 to the Nevada-Vernon County Community Foundation for their MRF project. This project is a multi-use recreational facility. MRF, M-U-R-F. The facility will be 2 complexes with pickleball, basketball, and tennis courts.
Being able to meet people that are doing these great things in the community it's just another one of those organizations that's doing something fantastic for the community.
The project still needs another $900,000. A Joplin woman wants to inform women about their options when it comes to pregnancy. KOAM's Amber Jenkins explains.
Very scared, very scared. I thought I was going to die. I really thought I was going to die.
Being pregnant. However, that changed when she went in for a checkup in the 18th week of pregnancy.
And they told me that my water had broke fully, completely, that there was no amniotic fluid left, that she wasn't going to survive. That there was no chance for her.
But Missouri's heartbeat law prohibits medical doctors from performing an abortion if the fetus has a heartbeat, even if it's life-threatening to the mother.
I don't want to orphan my child and leave him with the child. You know, there's so many things that I can't do because of this heartbeat law. It needs to be clear.
Melissa and her partner drove to a clinic in Illinois that did the abortion.
I said, well, it feels like the law is trying to kill me. It feels like the state of Missouri is trying to kill me without options, and the doctors want to help, and you're not able to help.
Melissa wanted to share her story to inform women so they can be prepared.
Losing our daughter was hard. we were so excited for her. And I hope that the only good that can come from this story is that even though we lost hers, that other women can live.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
We reached out to State Senators Rick Bratton and Senator Bill White, who supported the fetal heartbeat law, but we have not received a response.
All right, check the Skywatch storm tracker. Rain moving across the area, which is something we absolutely need. Not a ton of it, but rain nonetheless as it moves off to the south and east, slowly but surely. More rain back out in Kansas, a little bit of additional development of some rain showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder. Again, not a ton of rain out of this, but it is rain and we need it and we're going to take it. Absolutely. All right, take a look out to our northwest in Joplin. You can see where the rain is slowly edging in on the city. Right now, though, it's dry and the temperatures are cool, 60 degrees, because that cold front has already been through. And you can see where the cold front has been and where it has not yet gone through yet. As we go from 65 in Bentonville, travel up 49, 57 in Nevada, 59 Lamar, 60 in Columbus. So we've got a decent start to the day so far, but we are still upwards of 10 to 20 degrees cooler than what we were yesterday at this same time. And the other benefit of this cold front is not just cooler temperatures, but allergy sufferers. Our allergy pollen counts have been high, and they are a bit lower. 7.1 out of 12 today, 7 out of 12 for tomorrow. Still up there, but a lot better. Then comes the roller coaster of temperatures. We will eventually get up to 66 for a high early today. Then we'll start to drop back down into the lower 60s this evening with shower and thunderstorm chances. And then tonight, we'll hit our overnight low of 55 early this evening, and then we're going to start to slowly warm back up, and we'll be 58 by 6 a.m. with more shower chances. So let's go straight into the 7-day forecast. This is why. We go up to 88 tomorrow, 66 today, 88 tomorrow, 96, a possible record-breaking day Saturday, and then we suddenly and nicely even out with temperatures in the 80s under partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News here on Fox 14. In our 6 o'clock show, we introduced you to Dan Keyes talking about the Gene Kelly program that's going on, the whole program actually, it's going on at the Bolus Fine Arts Center in Iola. And now, Patricia Ward Kelly, Gene Kelly's wife, is joining us here in the studio to share a little more about Gene and his career. And from what I understand too, I mean, it goes beyond what a lot of people knew about Gene. There's a lot to him. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. So what are some of the things you can tell us that maybe people didn't know about Gene?
Well, that's one of the reasons I started doing this one-woman show, because people have such a one-dimensional view of him. They don't understand that he spoke multiple languages. He spoke French, he spoke Italian, he spoke Yiddish. He was an economics major. He very often read a book a day. He was really a director, a choreographer, a producer, a writer, singer. I mean, he was not a triple threat. He was really more of an octuple threat. And so it's really fun to kind of take people on this journey. I say they get in a little boat with me and they don't really know where they're going, but they go right into, not only into his mind, but also into his heart, the kind of man he was.
And what was that experience like for you to be able to share that with him and to share life with him, and just knowing the rich history that he had, and then learning maybe even more yourself about him?
Well, I had to get up to speed pretty fast, because when I first met him, the grand irony is that I did not know who Gene Kelly was. So I always think that's probably why he married me, because I was one of the rare women who didn't, most of them just fell on the floor, and I knew nothing. And so he brought me out to write his story, and as a result, I recorded him in some fashion nearly every day, and really got to know who this guy was. I mean, he's beautiful up on the screen. He's gorgeous, he's charming, but there was so much to him, and I really, so it's nice to be able to share that, because people come out of my show and they'll say, you know, I loved him before, but I love him even more now. And you know, he was a true romantic, and that's one of the things that I think people imagine he would be that way, but they don't know for sure. And I actually brought along.
Right, I was going to say, you've got some stuff
Well,
with
I
you.
did, because in the show, he was like a little boy for Valentine's Day and for my birthdays. The minute it turned midnight, I would start to find Valentines sprinkled all around the house. And here's one of them that he had. It just says, "I'm glad you're my wife." And then he signed it, "Guess who?" So, and this is another one that says, "Roses are red, white, pink, and yellow. You're my Valentine, and I'm your fella." And it was just, really, these are little things that he found at the little local dime store, and then he added his little notes to it. And so,
that's just awesome. That's an incredible piece of information that, again, people won't get just from watching him on the screen. They won't get to know who he really was and what he was really like in life. And how important is that for you to be able to share that, to go beyond what people think they know of Gene?
Oh, I think it's vital, because I think what it shows too is how contemporary he is. I mean, one of the things that I brought, these are his Converse tennis shoes. And I mean, he was wearing these way before it was cool to wear these, and yet he was so far ahead of his time, not only in his filmmaking, but also in his clothes. I mean, he was wearing he would wear these sweaters and scarves and caps and khaki pants and these, and so really people think he just stepped out of a J. Crew catalog or something. You know?
And you mentioned his directing. Obviously, people know him for his dancing, they know him for his film appearances, but what a lot of folks you're finding don't realize is he was also a great director behind the scenes as well.
Well, that's really how he wished to be remembered, because people do think of him on the screen and they forget he's behind the scenes directing and choreographing what you're seeing. And so Sing in the Rain, On the Town, It's Always Fair Weather, Cheyenne Social Club, directing Hello Dolly. People forget that he directed the film Hello Dolly with Barbra Streisand and Walter Matthau. So I have a beautiful segment in the show behind the scenes with Gene up there on the boom directing 12,000 extras in that.
That's incredible. And just one last thing, what can people look forward to at the show this evening?
I think a surprise, really, and getting to know him. I think they really understand what made him tick, what made him so unique, and what made him so, as I say, he's basically timeless, because he's been gone 26 years, and yet he's still the hottest thing around.
Still a very important part of people's lives.
Very much so.
To this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Patricia, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, remember, we've got information on the show on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, at the Bolus Fine Arts Center in Iola. We'll be back right after this.
In Consumer Watch this morning, the Federal Reserve announced it's raising its benchmark interest rate by 0.75 percentage point. It was the third consecutive rate hike of that size, but the central bank warned investors to expect more as it tries to tame inflation, which is at 4-decade highs. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says he wants to raise rates high enough to slow the economy and drive inflation down without triggering a recession. Fans of the Apple TV show Ted Lasso will soon get to virtually be the mustachioed manager and play as AFC Richmond in the upcoming EA Sports FIFA 23 video game. Not only will you get to kick the ball around as your favorite characters, from Roy Kent to Jamie Tartt to Sam Obisanya, but you'll also get to do so inside their made-for-TV home stadium, Nelson Road. Early access to FIFA 23 begins on September 27th. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. A Canadian band has a new album out, and you don't have to be an extreme music fan to relate to the guitarist's personal story. Rick Damigella reports.
That intense sound is the Canadian metal band Razor from their new album, Cycle of Contempt. It's It's the band's first new studio album in 25 years. Listening to it, one wouldn't know guitarist Dave Carlo is partially blind.
The condition is called Stargardt's dystrophy. It's a form of macular degeneration. Unfortunately for me, it started in my early 30s. And yeah, it's been a real challenge. People ask me about how do I play guitar after I lost my sight. Well, one of the things I do, I've got a guitar right here. And what I do, if you can see that, I put glow-in-the-dark tape on every fret. And before I perform a show, we hit it with ultraviolet light. We have a little ultraviolet flashlight, and it will glow for a few hours. So regardless of the lighting conditions, I can pick up the fret positions with my peripheral vision. I still can't see my hands on the fretboard. It poses a bit of a challenge during guitar solos, but I think for the most part, we got it down.
Carlo also fought a battle with tongue cancer in 2012, cares for his son who has autism and his daughter who has borderline personality disorder, none of which stops him from playing music.
The hardest part is that I'm, as a musician, here to entertain people and to bring people a good time. And I want to be associated with a person who brings them a good time. I don't want to be known for all this tragedy around me. At the same time, I know it's almost impossible not to be with so many things happening. But hopefully I'm some kind of an example of perseverance to let people know that, you know, these terrible things happen. We have to push through. We have to find a way to push through.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
We'll be back with another look at your forecast when we return. All right, we have breaking news this morning out of Joplin, Missouri. Firefighters were called early this morning to an apartment building fire at 5:30 this morning at 9th and Connecticut. There were multiple reports of the fire at this building. We do know that everyone was able to make it out safely, and we sent our reporter Shannon Becker to the scene to get a report. We're waiting to get a live report from him, and as I understand, it is ready now, and we will go to him now.
5:30 this morning, Joplin Emergency 911 alerted to an apartment fire. The building was completely engulfed in flames as firefighters arrived. Joplin Fire Chief Gerald Elzell tells us everyone's out of the building safely and no firefighters were injured in this blaze. Building is totally destroyed. It's located in the 1900 block of East 9th Street near 9th and Connecticut. Traffic in the area is blocked currently as hoses are running up to 2 blocks away to hydrants. With more information, we're live here on the scene in Joplin on East 9th Street. I'm Shannon Becker for KOAM News Now.
Of course, we'll have more information on that fire on our website, on our Facebook, and as it becomes available, we'll have more today at noon as well.
And firefighters had to deal with a little bit of wind this morning.
They certainly did. In Joplin, that cold front has rolled through, left us a bit breezy. Rain is finally on the way into Joplin. You can see on the Skywatch storm tracker, we've got more rain coming in from the northwest. You can see the clouds increasing across the city. It's a little bit on the cool side. 60 degrees, mostly cloudy skies across the city of Joplin. And then take a look at some of these temperatures. 53 Iola, 56 Fort Scott, 60 in Carthage. And that still leaves us anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees cooler than where we were 24 hours ago, except for the areas where the cloud cover and cold front just haven't quite made it yet. As we go through the rest of the day, a little bit of a roller coaster. We will reach a high of 66 with scattered showers and thunderstorms. We drop through the day, 60 by 8. And then 55 for the low early, and then we start to warm up as we head into tomorrow morning. And take a look at the 7-day forecast. Here's why we start to warm up. We're looking at 88 on Friday, a possible record-breaking day on Saturday. And then temperatures after showers and storm chances, they're low, but they're there. Clear out Saturday. Temperatures even out. We go to mostly clear to partly cloudy skies to start the upcoming work week. So not bad. Not a ton of rain is expected. Our rain tracker through this evening for this first kind of little batch of rains. You saw we have chances today, a little bit tomorrow, a little bit Saturday. We're looking at maybe a 1/10 to 3/4 of an inch, but we may see a little bit more. So not a ton of rain, not enough to make a huge dent in the drought, but still rain nonetheless, and it's rain that we absolutely need across the area. And at least briefly, cool temperatures for the first day of fall.
All right, well, I'm so ready for the cool down today, and if we get any rain, it'll be great.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of folks in our northern counties already getting that rain as it slowly slides off to the southeast. So everybody getting in on some kind of rain action. It'll be scattered, but it'll be there.
And you know what's good with cooler temperatures? Warm dishes like ratatouille.
Yeah.
And if you missed our segments this morning on how to make ratatouille with Chef Anthony, be sure to go online on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, and check that out. It was a lot of fun this morning.
It certainly was. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
Hi, it's Ron.